Do you ever experience difficulties in falling asleep? Well, it happens to everyone every once a while. However, people with insomnia has to deal with it, night after night. Insomnia, the world's most common sleep disorder. It can make it hard to fall asleep, hard to stay asleep, or cause you to wake up too early and not be able to get back to sleep. You could still feel tired when you wake up. Insomnia can sap not only your energy and mood but also your health, work performance and quality of life. How much sleep is enough varies from person to person. Hence, we did this experiment with 5 samples, various of age and gender. They will be interviewed on how their sleeping has been, do they have any symptoms of insomnia, and does only adult experience insomnia. How difficult do you find falling asleep?
It's not really difficult, but it will be difficult during stress. Like if I have a stressful event the next day, or I'm having a stressful day. Usually it happens during exam day.
Sometimes lah, tak adalah ni just bangun untuk pergi ke toilet bila waktu malam, and then bila lepas bangun pergi ke toilet, kita balik tidur balik pun ada masa susah lah, ada masa tak ada, tapi tak terlalu kerap, tak jadi masalah untuk tidur balik sebab mungkin depend pada hari yang berlaku lah, waktu hari yang kita tidur.
Kadang masalah untuk tidur ni, ia ada juga dia mengganggu, di mana kadang-kadang kita pada siang hari kita banyak kerja, jadi malam dia susah sikit nak tidur lah. So itu menyebabkan tidur yang lambat.
How difficult do you find staying asleep? Do you wake up often during the night?
Well, my question. On a scale of 5, I would rate this question 5 out of 5. This situation to be 5 out of 5, which is extremely difficult. I find it hard for me to stay asleep during the night due to the external factors that not only external factors that affects my sleeping pattern, my sleeping mood, my sleeping position, my sleeping schedule. It's also the internal factors that I need to consider, because when during the daytime I don't have enough, my mind don't have enough space to think, to recreate things, to imagine things, to assume things, to think things that leads to overthinking. But when night hits and I accidentally fall asleep, maybe my body just want to fall asleep, but my mind, perhaps they say no.
Yes, sometimes I wake up during the night bila rasa tidur tak ada apa-apa nak lain, mungkin dah terlalu penat. Ada juga ada masa bila terlalu penat tu kita boleh terjaga balik lah. And then ataupun siang kita terlebih rehat ke, mungkin ada satu hari tu kita tidur petang ke kan, dan malam memang akan terjaga lah.
How difficult do you find waking up in the morning?
Untuk bangun pada waktu pagi, untuk diri makcik lah, dia tak ada masalah. Sebab apa, kita sebagai seorang Islam, kita ada benda yang wajib kita buat. Macam di tengah-tengah waktu tidur kita boleh buat sembahyang tahajud. Lepas tu ada subuh. Dalam masa tu kita buat sajalah apa-apa yang amal ibadat yang kita boleh buat. Dan selepas tu boleh sambung tidur balik lah. Sebab makcik pun dah tua, tak ada tanggungjawab nak anak pergi sekolah ke apa ke. So just continue je lah dengan sambung rehat balik lagi, sambung tidur gitu.
Well, for the past 2 weeks we are under RMO, so like I can say like I'm moderately satisfied with my sleeping pattern because I don't have school, so I don't really sleep early these days. I kind of like, play with my phones. But if we're talking about my school life, yeah, I will be satisfied, but only happens if I'm not satisfied with it. It's usually happen like if I have stressful event, like I said before.
How satisfied or dissatisfied are you with your current, the past 2 weeks, sleep pattern?
Satisfied with my sleep pattern.
Just moderate je. Taklah very satisfied pun tidak, tak satisfied pun tidak. Just moderate lah, tengah-tengah. Gantung pada kita tidur tu jugalah.
For satisfaction, actually macam makcik memang dah tua kan. Lepas tu ada pula berpenyakit. Nak kata tidur dengan secara yang tidur yang lebih nyenyak memang susah sikit. Jadi disebabkan tu kita banyak lebih masa ke adjust sendirilah. Make yourself satisfied sometime. Tengok macam mana. Kalau ada hari sometimes kita tak puas tidur juga, ada yang mengganggu. Macam disebabkan keletihan siang tu, tidur memang tak boleh nyenyak. Macam setengah orang kata bila kita letih kita boleh tidur nyenyak, tapi bagi makcik tak boleh tidur. So kadang-kadang makcik tidur pun tak panjang. Makcik tidur paling pukul 2.30 pagi baru boleh tidur. And pagi subuh dah kena bangun lagi kan. Semua orang buat macam tu kan. Jadi satisfaction tu sometimes ada, sometimes tak ada juga. Tengok mood jugalah kadang-kadang.
With the RMO going on and stuff, with the reinforcement of government extending the RMO weeks for 2 weeks or so, I can say that I am moderately dissatisfied with my sleeping pattern, with my sleeping schedule, because you see, when you spend most of your time at home, your sleeping schedule is totally messed up. I think it's obvious and it's pretty apparent, and it applies to everyone, I guess. So I can see that I am moderately dissatisfied with my sleeping pattern.
To what extent is your current sleep problem noticeable to others and impacting your quality of life?
Tak berapa nak noticeable sangat ke untuk orang yang ada di keliling ataupun di tempat kerja ke. Bila berdepan dengan sesiapa mungkin tak berapa nak perasan kan.
Impacting, if we're talking about impacting my daily life schedule, is that it's only a little because I don't usually sleep late during school days, but if I do sleep late, especially during exams or during study week, a week before exam or 2 weeks before exam, I will tend to have dizziness. If I went to school, I will tend to be more pale, so I'll be more tired, but other than that, I'm fine with it.
How worried or distressed are you about your current sleep problem?
Dalam hal masalah tidur ni, makcik dah biasa. Kalau nak ikut doktor, nasihat doktor, memanglah dia nak macam umur makcik-makcik ni dah umur 60, dia nak kita dapatkan rehat yang secukupnya, maybe 7 or 8 hours tidur ke, at least 6 hours ke. Tapi bagi makcik yang dah biasa daripada muda lagi sampai sekarang, makcik tidur setakat waktu-waktu begitu je. Jadi makcik rasa tak pernah ada problem lah. Even nak bangun, kalau nak bangun lebih awal pagi pun tak ada masalah. So dalam hal ni makcik rasa makcik selesa, dan alhamdulillah sampai sekarang pun makcik masih dah mampu lagi dalam keadaan yang sihat beginilah. Walaupun makcik ada berpenyakit, tapi masih under control. Ini pun atas nasihat doktor. Doktor pun bagi tahu, and I take it seriously juga. Tapi kalau nak suruh makcik tidur lebih macam yang doktor nasihat, memang tak boleh lah. Pasal my pattern of sleep daripada dulu memang time tu, at least pukul 2, 2.30 baru boleh lena. Jadi makcik rasa makcik boleh, and tak ada masalah, InsyaAllah.
Well, how worried and distressed I am about my current sleeping problem. Of course, I am worried and distressed of my current sleeping problem right now, because not only it affects my personal daily life, it also affects the people around me. Because you see, when you're lacking of sleep, it as I mentioned, it affects my mood. And when it affects my mood and concentration and also memory and also my physical and mental tiredness, it affects on how I perceive.
How much is your current sleep problem interfering with your daily life?
My current sleeping problem right now really does impact my daily life, because when you are lacking of sleep and when you don't have the quality of sleep, just like other possessed, you tend to have this uncomfortable and negative impact towards your life in terms of fatigue. We cannot see, when we define fatigue as tiredness, but how I define fatigue, I define it in various angles. I could be tired in terms of I could be tired physically, I could be tired mentally, and that's what I am.
I can say that I will be really be fatigued throughout the day, but it also causes my mood to be unstable. I tend to be stressed, and then a few minutes after that I'll be happy, and then I'll be overthink at some point.
So mood swing, huh?
Yeah, but in terms of my concentrations, I don't really have problem with it, except those subjects that I don't really understand what the teachers teaching, so I will tend to just ignore it and sleep. Yeah.
So overall, you're not that worried about your sleeping pattern?
For now, I'm not really worried about it because, well, like I said, I'm a student, so
A bit sleepy when I attend the class, but depend on the time class lah.
Masalah tidur ni, kalau dia makcik lah, boleh makcik tak tahu. Kalau dia makcik rasa tak banyak mengganggu. Cuma kadang-kadang makcik walaupun dapat tidur waktu yang pendek, tapi makcik nak tidur tu is a very good sleep makcik. My time of sleep tu selalunya memang cukup lah. Cuma sometimes ni kita tak boleh cakap lah kan, kita ni manusia kan. Kalau dah diganggu tengah malam dengan something emergency ke apa tu, esok tu memang moody sikit lah.
Mostly dia lebih kepada nak concentration bila kita kurang tidur ni. So bila bagi saya lah pengalaman, bila tidur kurang, concentration bila kita untuk berfikir tu, otak kita mungkin kurang berehat sebelum tu dengan cukup, dengan baik, badan pun tak apa nak kuat, tak berapa nak berehat, dan tidur pun tak cukup, dia akan jadi tidak concentration untuk kita lakukan aktiviti harian kita lah selalunya.
Welcome to the first self-help video to help you with your sleep problems. My name is Magnus Nordmo and I'm a Norwegian clinical psychologist and your guide through this process. So, this program is for people with sleep problems, and by that we mean problems with one or more of these. Problems getting into sleep, problems sleeping through the night, waking up too early, low sleep quality, and daytime sleepiness and fatigue. People who've had sleep problems for a long time may also experience problems concentrating on daily activities, for example at work. It might also negatively affect your mood. Lastly, people with sleep problems often have a lot of concerns related to their sleep. We can further divide sleep problems into two main categories: short-term and long-term ones, also known as acute and chronic insomnia. Short-term sleep problems are minor episodes that often occur concurrently with demanding life events, like getting a new job, changing residence, or a death in the family. Short-term sleep problems are something that most people go through at some point. But fortunately, these usually go away on their own, without the need for any professional intervention. In some cases though, short-term sleep problems may persist and become long-term ones. If you've experienced 3 or more nights of bad sleep per week for 3 months or longer, you have what's called chronic sleep problems or chronic insomnia, from the Latin word in, meaning without, and somnus, meaning sleep.
The symptoms of insomnia are that the person may feel fatigue, sleepy during the day, the following day, may have changes in the mood, may be anxious, sad, may be having difficulty with concentration, also may have headaches in the morning, may have gastrointestinal problems that can be changing the bowel habits. And this is more for chronic insomnia. And insomnia is the difficulty falling asleep or maintaining sleep or getting up too early.
My name is Matthew Walker. I am a professor of neuroscience and psychology at the University of California, Berkeley, and I am the author of the book, Why We Sleep. What are things that we can all do tonight and in the future to start getting better sleep? Well, beyond carving out a non-negotiable 8-hour sleep opportunity, there are probably at least 5 things that we can do. The first is that we have to try and maintain regularity. And if there's one thing that you take away from this, it would be going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time, no matter whether it's the weekday or the weekend. Even if you've had a bad night of sleep, still wake up at the same time of day and reset. The second thing is that we are a dark-deprived society in this modern era, and we need darkness in the evening to allow the release of a hormone called melatonin. And melatonin helps the healthy timing of our sleep. So try to dim down half the lights in your home in the hour before bed. Stay away from screens, especially those LED screens. They emit blue light that actually puts the brakes on melatonin. And those blue light emitting devices fool your brain into thinking that it's still daytime, even though it's nighttime and you want to get to sleep. The third key ingredient is to keep it cool. Many of us actually have a bedroom that's too warm in terms of temperature. So an optimal temperature is about 68 degrees Fahrenheit or about 18.5 degrees Celsius. And the reason is that your brain and your body need to drop their core temperature by about 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit to initiate good sleep. And that's the reason that you will always find it easier to fall asleep in a room that's too cold than too hot. So having a cool room actually takes your brain and body in the right temperature direction to get good sleep. The fourth critical factor is actually avoiding alcohol and caffeine. Unfortunately, this makes me deeply unpopular, but alcohol is perhaps the most misunderstood drug when it comes to sleep. People think that it helps them fall asleep. That's not actually true. Alcohol is a class of drugs that we call the sedatives. And what you're doing is just knocking your brain out. You're not putting it into natural sleep. We also know that alcohol will fragment your sleep, so you'll wake up many more times throughout the night. And alcohol is also a very potent chemical for blocking your dream sleep or your rapid eye movement sleep. Caffeine is also a problem. Many of us know that caffeine can keep us awake. It's an alerting chemical. It's a stimulant in terms of a class of drugs. But few people know that even if you can have a cup of coffee after dinner and you fall asleep fine and maybe you stay asleep, the depth of the deep sleep that you have when there is caffeine within your brain isn't as deep as when you have abstained from that cup of coffee after dinner. So as a consequence, you wake up the next morning, you feel unrefreshed, and you don't remember waking up or having a difficult time falling asleep, but now you find yourself reaching for 2 or 3 cups of coffee in the morning, and you develop this dependency, this addiction cycle. The fifth and final tip for better sleep is to not stay in bed awake. So if you haven't fallen asleep within 20 or so minutes, or you've woken up and you're finding it difficult to fall back asleep, don't stay in bed awake. The reason is that your brain very quickly starts to learn the association between your bed being about the place that you're awake rather than your bed being about sleep. So the advice is to get up, go to another room, and in dim light, just read a book. No screens, no email checking, no food. And only when you feel sleepy should you return to bed. And that way you can actually then relearn the association between your bedroom being about the place of sleep rather than being awake. I should also note that some people don't like the idea of getting up and going out to a different room if it's dark and they're warm in bed. An alternative is actually meditation. Meditation has been demonstrated in clinical trials to help people just relax the body, calm down the fight or flight branch of the nervous system that can happen when we wake up in the middle of the night and we have that Rolodex of anxiety thoughts. And by meditating, you can start to quiet the mind as well as the body, and that also helps you fall back asleep more easily.